Perfect. So I think we are already live. So hello everyone. A great pleasure to be moderating this event today. For the people who don't know me, just a brief introduction of who I am and the company I'm coming from. I'm a part of Limacom team, and today we're going deep, really deep into one of my favorite topics that concerns LinkedIn and social selling on LinkedIn and building relationships, or if you want to call it, boosting your social capital on LinkedIn. Really, really great things which are going to talk about today with our amazing guests. A couple of words about me and about Limacom. We're working in mainly in three directions: sales, marketing, and event management. As this event is more focused on the sales part, what we're doing here in the sales team of Limacom. We are a proud service provider of one of the greatest and most powerful platforms in the world for organizing marketing, sales, and customer service processes, which is called HubSpot. And we are doing and building sales strategies for B2B companies. About my guests today, I'm really proud that my guests today are coming from just the other part of the world. They're coming from the USA. Those are Brynne and Bill, people who are so knowledgeable about LinkedIn and all the trends and best practices and tips and tricks of LinkedIn that I'm really, really respected of their knowledge. So I don't have any patience to give the word to them and show you some interesting things from the LinkedIn world, especially some of the newest trends and some really interesting details that you haven't probably thought of they exist in LinkedIn. Probably some words about them. Brynne and Bill are business partners and are a part of the company Social Sales Link, which is on the market for more than 15 years, right, Brynne?
So we've been in business almost 7, and I've been teaching this a little over 12.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so basically, if we sum it up, it's more than 15, in fact.
Oh, together, yes,
yeah,
for sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, in fact, my guests are teaching entrepreneurs and business people to become more aware of the LinkedIn trends and how powerful they can become if they use LinkedIn as their primary tool. And in fact, they're teaching business people how to leverage LinkedIn for social selling and become thought leaders there. So I don't intend to mess with any more words and introductions, but would prefer to give the word to them and probably start the event today. So Bill and Brynne, welcome. I'm really glad that you're here with me and you have the word.
Bill, I'll let you get started.
Great. Thank you so much, Georgie. It's great to be with you. We can't wait to get started. We've got a lot of information to cover with you. So I think, Brynne, we should just jump right in.
That's awesome. So, warning, we have a jam-packed agenda, and we're going to be going through it very, very quickly. You will have an implementable takeaway just about every 2 minutes. So grab paper and a pen because it's a lot of content. You're welcome to take screenshots, and this will be on replay so you can watch it over and over again. Bill is my timekeeper because I tend to go on and on and on, although he's going to be running a huge piece of this. At any given point, he might say, okay, Brynne, next. And so, and that's exactly the way that we need to do this. But we do have about an hour that we're going to go through this content. We're very excited about that. And stick around at the end. We'd appreciate it. But we've got lots and lots of great stuff. So why don't you cover a little bit of today's agenda for us, Bill?
Sure. So what we're going to talk about today is what it takes to get a conversation started on LinkedIn, and really what we're talking about is taking conversations from the digital space. And I used to say to the face-to-face, but here in the States we're not doing face-to-face physically, but through Zoom. So we're going to talk about that, and then how to position your profile to get more conversations, to move that profile from a resume to more of a resource, more of a value-centric profile. And then we're going to show you how you can identify existing connections that you would like to have more conversations with, and give you strategies and tactics to start more conversations with them, and then to move it from having content to making conversations. And then finally, we're going to close it out with mastering LinkedIn for social selling, kind of a bonus. We're going to show you how you can find out more of what it is that we do.
Yeah.
Perfect. Sounds really exciting.
So Bill, I'll let you lead this and then I'll jump in.
So we teach social selling, and social selling has many different definitions. Our definition is social selling is the process of leveraging online tools and platforms such as LinkedIn to attract, teach, and engage your targeted buyers. Now, if we started right there, that would really just be social media marketing. The next sentence is crucial. The next sentence is in order to have more sales conversations. That's really the be all and end all. That's where we want to end up. We want to use LinkedIn to start more sales conversations. As Brynne says, social selling is about building relationships, providing real value, and being a resource, and then trusting that the sales will come when the time is right. It's really the whole idea of paying forward, what we say in the United States. You give in order to get later on.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So what does it take to get a conversation? First, we need to earn the right. This is absolutely vital. Earning the right, just because you connect with someone on LinkedIn and they accept your connection request, does not earn you the right to get a call, a Zoom call, a conversation. And so earning the right means that you've provided enough value that they know if they jump on a call with you or have a conversation with you, that it's worth their invested time. So we call this the ask offer ratio. This was actually inspired by a book by Keenan called Gap Selling. And the ask offer ratio really is simply this. We are asking for an investment in their time or money, right? So we're asking for an investment. And at the end of that investment, they're going to walk away with one of three responses. That was a bait and switch. So let's talk about if it's a piece of content that we've shared. The topic draws me in and then I learn nothing. That's a bait and switch. That happens all the time. The topic is worth more than the value I get from it. Immediately, we've lost any right to have a conversation, right? The next one is pretty neutral, and this is where most people land all the time, most of the time. Is I share something, it was okay, it was fine, but it didn't compel me to take action. The third is compelling, right? So my reaction is, wow, that was good. That created a little curiosity in me. It taught me something new. You know, it piqued my interest. I want more, or I'm compelled to react, which could be a like, a comment, a share, or it could be scheduling a call. If I'm compelled to take action, we've mastered the ask offer ratio. And that's where we want to be most, if not all of the time, that everything that we're doing is compelling to our buyers. And the way you do this is to be a resource. And we're going to talk about being a resource through the whole thing. Bill and I were just on a webinar where a question from one of our clients was, you know, how do I know when I'm giving too much, when I'm giving it away? And, you know, we answered, you just keep giving. There's a quote from Michael Port, who is a speaker coach. He has an amazing TED Talk. And the quote is, give away so much value that you're afraid you gave too much, and then give more. So I want you to really embrace that. Because when we think that way, when we come from a place of giving, of abundance, of being a resource, we master the ask-offer ratio naturally, and we earn the right to get the conversation. So, Bill, talk a little about lead to your solution, not with your solution.
So yeah, as salespeople, we think that we have the best product, the best service, the best solution for our clients, and we should think that. We should believe that. But when we lead with that, it's like white noise. It doesn't make sense to people because they see right through it. Everyone is saying the same thing, and that's leading with your solution. That's pitching all the time. That's like going into a networking event. I'm looking for my business cards. I don't have any around, and just throwing business cards at people. That's what it's like on LinkedIn. When you lead with your solution all the time, people don't hear you. What we want to do is talk about leading to your solution, guiding them, and as Brynne just said, giving away value, giving away insights so that people see you as not only an authority figure and a thought leader in what you do, but they see that you have credibility in what you do, because that's when people will begin to contact you and come seek you out, because they know that you're the credible source in your sphere of influence and in your industry and in regards to your product and your service. So you want to make sure you lead to your solution, not with your solution.
Yeah, and as salespeople, it's really hard, as Bill said, where we want to pitch. We want to tell them how great we are, how we can help them. But instead of talking about how we can help them, simply help them. Let them test drive you, right? Test drive through your insights. Give it a shot, right? So I don't know if that interprets an English test drive, but like if you go to buy a car, you want to take it out for a spin and feel what it's like on the road before you buy it. That's when we're leading to our solution, we're allowing them to test drive through our value and our insights, right? And it gives them a taste of what they're going to get if they hire us, but it moves them closer and closer to us. Instead of us just telling them what it's going to be like, let them experience it, right? And they do that through our insights. So I love attract, teach, and engage. This creates know, like, and trust. Now, know, like, and trust, I believe comes from the go-getter, the go-giver, not go-getter, the go-giver, which is a book by Bob Berg. That's phenomenal. And I think they use it in there. I'm not sure if it was coined there, but I think it could have been, where it's really important that people know, like, and trust you before they do business. But in order to get to the know, let alone like and trust, we have to attract, teach, and engage first. So, Bill, how do you attract people on LinkedIn?
On LinkedIn, I was going to say I shower regularly, and I don't eat smelly food. And I brush my teeth. But on LinkedIn, the way that you attract people is first of all, don't have. I love it what they say in one of the podcasts, Daryl, Amy, and they say don't have commission breath. Don't always.
Larry Levine and Dad, yeah. Selling from the heart. It's a
selling from the heart. Yeah, great podcast. Breath. Don't have commission breath. Don't be always pitching. To attract people, you have to be welcoming, right? So we'll talk about profile in a minute, but having value, making sure you're providing value at every turn, every interaction you have with someone should be providing some kind of value. And like Brynne says, keep giving your stuff away, because that's what, by attracting them and then teaching them through thought leadership and then engaging with them, as Brynne said, that's where we get to that know, like, and trust. That's where you develop that credibility that people see. Like, I have this really cool book right here that's on my desk, and it's called the LinkedIn Sales Playbook, A Tactical Guide to Social Selling, by somebody by the name, you may know her, Brynne Tillman. I read this book and put it into practice before I ever even met Brynne. So Brynne had credibility with me when it came to LinkedIn, and she became my go-to for LinkedIn. And so when I had some things I needed help with, she was the one who I went to, and that's how we ended up working together. It's a great story. But that's what it is. Attract, teach, and engage is going to help you get to that know, like, and trust, and that credibility is the most important thing that you can establish.
Yeah, and engage can come from many different levels. Engage can just be a reaction or a comment on a piece of content. Engage can be a connection request, or they looked at your profile. And it's about us reacting appropriately to that engagement and converting it from, hey, they liked this, they commented on this, they visited my profile. What are the things that we can do to take that engagement and move it to conversation? And we're going to go deeper into that in a little bit.
So poor Georgie keeps trying to say stuff, and we keep
just
talking right over him. These fast United Staters that talk. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Just one question that popped up, and I think some of the people who are watching us may think about it. You said attracting, engaging people on LinkedIn, but doesn't that sound too time-consuming for some of the business people who are really busy with many things happening on a daily basis?
So that is a great question. And when we work with someone, or initially even just have a conversation with them, a lot of people will ask that question.
Yeah.
And you really want to kind of sit back and go, how much time is it taking to get a first conversation right now? So if conversations are important to you, prospecting is important to you, getting that first call is important to you, I'd love for you to do a little inventory. Take a look at how many first conversations you're having now and how much time it's taking for you to get there. This, although feels like a lot initially, will most likely reduce your time to first conversation, and it will help you to really pinpoint who it is that you want to talk with. So it may feel like a lot, and we said this was going to be jam-packed. Boom, boom, boom. It's going to feel like a lot. We're going to walk you through quite a bit of this, and then you can watch it on replay if it's going too fast, because the next things are going to go very fast. But investing a little time up front to get prepared to do a lot of what we're going to teach you, it's not terribly difficult or a lot necessarily more time consuming. It's probably a lot less time consuming if you're cold calling or doing huge email outreach and trying to follow up with people that open your emails. I mean, really take a look at what are you doing to get that first call. And I can almost guarantee you that using LinkedIn to get to conversations is going to be faster than most everything else you're doing, especially now when we're limited from our in-person meetings, right? Like no matter where you are in the world, even if you've opened up, your networking meetings are still limited. And there's a good chance this is going to go on for a good year or so. So we want to make sure that we are still networking, and LinkedIn, at least in the States and much of Western Europe and much of even Australia and Canada, and LinkedIn is the it tool. We don't have another. I know you guys have different tools that you have available to us. This is our database. This is our tool. I mean, we have Twitter, of course, and Facebook, but not from a business to business perspective. This is it. So investing the time in here. So, and I look at now, I don't know, George, if you were a networker, if you're used to going to in-person meetings, there's 40 minutes to get ready, to drive there, to be at the event. And then, so you get an hour at the event, and then there's another 40 minutes, right? So 1 hour event could be 2 hours of time. The amount that you could get done in 2 hours on LinkedIn is significantly more with the right plan than 2 hours that you used to do going to an event.
Yeah,
and Brynne said the right thing there, the right plan, because you have to be consistent. So you have to come up with a system. There's a great book called Atomic Habits by James Clear, and there's a quote that rocked my world. He said, "We don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems." We can have a goal that we're going to go on LinkedIn every day, but if there's not a system in place to do that, we're not going to do it. So and we can help with that for sure.
Okay, and just one more question.
Yeah.
Brynne mentioned some other channels which are sometimes effective for acquiring new clients, such as cold calling, networking in some events, and so on. Do you have some practices and some experience in terms of when LinkedIn is definitely the best channel and when sometimes cold calling or networking or some other channels are a better probably option for salespeople?
Yeah. So, I mean, we teach LinkedIn. So we're always going to say LinkedIn is your
Yeah,
best
yeah.
option, right? Because that's what we teach. But
Yeah.
there are so many ways to business develop. And I actually believe that LinkedIn is an umbrella over all those things,
Okay.
right? So we meet people in person, we connect with them on LinkedIn. We want to call someone, we do some research first. We find out if we have some shared connections so we can warm up that cold call before we reach out. I mean, there are lots of ways to kind of use LinkedIn along with your traditional processes. We tend to just use LinkedIn because it works very effectively, but our goal is to have conversations. Our goal is to take it off of LinkedIn and have conversations. So by no means are we saying that this is a substitute for in-person or face-to-face meetings. This gets us there faster.
Yeah.
It can even get us on a call faster. So if we're cold callers and you know, we're big fans of Jeb Blunt at Sales Gravy, who teaches a lot of just pick up the phone and make your next call. And, you know, and so, you know, there are a lot of things that are going on out there that are very successful, but we believe throwing LinkedIn into that in whatever you're doing can enhance the experience, reduce the time to conversation, help you connect better, and also, you know, you leave a voicemail, they get your 30 seconds of voicemail. You connect on LinkedIn and you invite them to look at your profile, you're getting them to see everything you want them, you know, in a way that we're going to talk about now, that attracts, teaches, and engages and starts that know, like, and trust and converts that. So, you know, we're never going to say, and there's no one magic pill for anything. But we believe that LinkedIn is an overarching help throughout the entire sales process, no matter what other prospecting things you're doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure, sure. And I would even add some things. For example, I'm using LinkedIn even when I go to events. I'm using the function of the LinkedIn app to know who of my connections is closest to me. And this way I know how to, if I have the option to connect with him or her now at this event. So it's really useful even during offline communication, I would say.
Wonderful. Yeah, I love that. And all of this is going to start with your profile, because if you're connecting with new people, you're engaging on content, you know, they're engaging on your content, you are going to get activity and views of your profile. And it's really important that we position the profile in a way that converts to conversations, right? And often our profile is our resume, because LinkedIn has set it up that way, as it was initially really only recruiting and job finding. It's now morphed into so many other tools, other ways to use the tool, but it is set up to be a resume, because finding a job and recruiting is such an integral part of its foundation. But if you're using this for business development, we really want to be a resource. And so we want to move our profile from, we're great negotiators, we've hit our goal 7 times in the last 12 months, we've made President's Club or whatever that is, to, because our, you know, if I'm a prospect, I don't want to work with a salesperson who is a great negotiator. I want a bad negotiator, right? Like, so we want to show up as a resource, and it's really important that we do that. We're going to take you through how to do that. So, Bill, talk about the goal of the profile.
So what we want is a value-centric profile, meaning the value is right at the center and people can see it. We want it to resonate with our prospects and with our clients, so that when they're looking at the profile, they can tell, you know, who you help, how you help them, and the value that you bring. We want to create curiosity. so that we're not going to give them everything, but we want them kind of going away saying, okay, I want to know more about this. I need to know more about this. And one of the ways we do that is by providing insights. Again, we come back to, stop telling people how you help them and just help them, So give away stuff, give away key insights and valuable education. It shows that you're a thought leader. And then what it will help do is get them thinking differently about whatever it is that you provide. You want to be what is your differentiator? What separates you from your competition? And then get them to want more, to ask more, have them raise that hand, to see you as the person of credibility that says, okay, I need to talk to this person. I have to have a conversation. And that's the whole goal of the profile. And we get that started with your images and then your headline. And Brynne will tell you a little bit about your headline.
You can keep going. You're doing great.
Okay, great. So the headline lives right underneath your name. And typically people have their position in the company they work at. Not very descriptive at all. LinkedIn gives you 210 characters with spaces here so you can make it more descriptive. So we say, who do you help? So who is your ideal client? My wife owns a promotional marketing company. She works with mainly marketing professionals. She can work with anyone, but her headline says providing marketing professionals. So who is it that you help? And then how do you help them? What's your deliverable? For her, it's providing innovative promotional products. And then finally, what you want to put in there is the results that they get. What are the results that you bring? Is it a better return on investment? Is it more exposure in the marketplace? And you want to put that together in a sentence and write it like a headline in a newspaper. Because remember, we talked about creating curiosity. We want this to grab people's attention and kind of be a call to read. We want them to read that and say, okay, I want to know more about this Brynne Tillman because she's doing exactly what I need help with doing. And so that's what's going on with your headline. And so here's Brynne's headline example. It could be CEO at Social Sales Link. Oh yeah, what's the big deal about that? But this is her real headline, transforming the way professionals, okay, so who does she help? She helps professionals grow their business by leveraging LinkedIn. That's how she helps them. And the result she brings is to convert content and connections to conversations. And then we've got this little tag on that we put virtual instructor-led programs for sales teams that are remote because no one's in offices now. Everyone's doing things remote. What I say is we used Zoom before Zoom was cool. Okay, we've been doing virtual training all along. Now everybody does virtual training, but we continue to do it. So you can see the difference between the not sparking curiosity headline and the curiosity that says, wow, I need to get on the phone with her because I don't understand this whole LinkedIn thing. All right, so that's the difference with a headline. You want to create a headline that's going to spark curiosity and cause people to read more and want to know more. So, you can take about summary. Yeah. I'm going to take a drink.
Okay, cool. So your about summary, most people start with my mission, my passion, my years in business. We say all of that needs to go down to your experience. Everything about you should go into your experience. The about summary should not be about all your awards or accolades or all about you. It should be a gift to them. And this is where we can create almost blog post-like content. This is where we're a resource. This is where they have their curiosity moments, their aha moments. They're like, oh my gosh, I need more moments. That's the job of your about summary. So you want to start with the challenge that they're facing. So there are many challenges. Our prospects are facing, it's really difficult to gain access to buyers, to stakeholders, right? So think about right now, I want you guys, if you've got your pen and paper, what is the number one challenge that your buyers are facing right now? This is going to be transformative, not just for your about summary, but for your conversations and your content that you're using that will convert to conversations. Next, offer vendor agnostic insights. This is such a big deal. So what does that mean? Vendor agnostic insights means that it is of value to them, even if they never buy from you or work with you. Vendor agnostic. So this is leading them to you, not leading with you. When you lead with you and your solution, you're saying, we help people do X, Y, and Z. These vendor agnostic insights are, here's your challenge. Here are some ways to think about things differently. Here are some things that you may not be doing that could have a huge impact on your X, Y, and Z. This is what's going to get them their wheels going. Get them to go, oh my gosh, that's really interesting, right? Briefly share how you can help them, just in a line, and then a call to action. And that call to action should be, let's chat, right? So if you are facing these challenges, let's have a conversation. Whether or not we decide to work together, I'd be happy to share insights or additional insights specific to your environment. Here's a link to my calendar. Pick a time that works for you. And all of a sudden, this has become an opportunity where they go, they understand me because they understand the challenge. These are some like really good insights. I understand that this is how they help people. I want to have a call. And make sure 100% of the time you've got your contact information. They may just want to email you, not ready to schedule a call or call you. So make sure that's there. Next is the featured section. I love this section, but you can talk about this if you want to.
Oh, thanks. So this is a new section. It came around just around the beginning of the year, and it lives right underneath your about section. It's totally separate, and what's great about it is it has different things that you can add to this section, whether it's a post on LinkedIn, an article from LinkedIn. But here's the great thing: external links. You can actually put a link in there to a website, to your Vimeo or your YouTube channel, and LinkedIn will allow the viewers of the profile to go visit that site. And then you can also put different type of media, pictures, documents. You could download a PowerPoint to a PDF and upload that. And what's so great about this is it helps you highlight and spotlight whatever your deliverables are. So for example, if you're a web designer, you could put links to pictures of different websites that you've designed. If you do some kind of a hard good, like you produce boxes or custom packaging, you can put pictures in there of those. If you're a coach, you've been on, like for us, we're on a lot of different webinars and podcasts like this, we'll put a link to this on our featured section. And it's just so great because it helps people to really see you're not selling them, you're not pitching them. It's just, here, this is what I do. And I believe it's a game changer for LinkedIn. I'm so glad that they added this section.
Yeah, and it's visually fabulous. It really draws in the eye. So make sure you're leveraging that. So when you upload this stuff, make sure the content is a resource, not just your collateral, not just your features. Not that you can't have any of that, but I think it should be a resource. Ask yourself, does it create curiosity or get your audience to think differently? So that's a lot of what we do. We want them to start having these aha moments. Is it moving your prospect closer to your solution? That's the leading to, not with. So does this get them curious and then potentially wanting to know more? Will it create raised hands? This is what we're going after, right? Everything we're talking about today is leading to conversations. So you want to make sure that your content is getting raised hands. Georgie, any questions on that before we move into experience?
It's connected to experience, but I'll say the question now. I know that media files are available in the featured section, which is directly below the summary, but we can add different media files in the experience section as well.
Yes.
What would you recommend to add in the first section, which is under the summary, and what would you recommend to add as media files under the experience section?
So I really want to make sure that featured section is all about leading them to your solution, not leading with your solution. Okay. That's education, that's content, YouTube videos, blog posts. If you've posted even just a regular post on LinkedIn, that you've got a lot of activity, maybe you have a poll, lots of things that you can do, I would add all of those. And I switch out my featured section often. my experience media, the media in my experience, I almost never switch out. Now, the media I have in my experience, or when I do podcasts or webinars, or I had a featured blog post in Forbes that connects to one of my offerings,
All right.
I'll bring that in, right? So that potentially, and that's a little more static. If you're dying to upload your collateral, I would do it under experience versus in the featured section.
All right.
You know, or link it to a page on your website that talks more about what you do. I'd keep that in experience. Bill, do you kind of feel similar to that?
Yeah, I agree.
Perfect. And just one more question, if you
Yeah.
Okay. I know that it's really important to add some keywords inside of your summary so that your profile is well optimized for search engines. Can you just expand a little more on this?
Yeah, so search engine optimization is important, not just for your profile, but content that you share, images. So if you upload your images, don't call it image 47321, right? Name it. And you can name it you or your company name, but that would suggest that when people are looking for you, they already know you. So let's say you have a banner, and let's say you are a SaaS solution. You don't want to put the name of your company, but you want to call it keywords that people would search when they were looking for your solution. I don't love keyword stuffing inside of LinkedIn, but there are definitely places like your title that are indexed very highly in the search. Your skills also indexed highly for SEO, for search engine optimization. So absolutely use those keywords, but I would make the user experience more important than the search engine optimization. Most people are going to get to your profile because you engaged with them, or they engaged on content you shared, or you reached out to connect with them, or you had a warm introduction. Or very few on LinkedIn right now are using it to find vendors. Not that they're not using it at all. And if you are actually creating articles inside of LinkedIn, they are very searchable by Google. So and your images are searched by Google. And so I do think there's some value in search engine optimization, but again, I think it's way more important that that the experience of the reader moves them to conversation versus worrying too much about am I showing up in searches. Right. The other part of LinkedIn is often it's your first and second degrees that are coming up early on in searches. So the more people you're connected to, the higher you're going to come up in a search.
All right. Perfect. Thank you for this answer.
So in experience, this is where you can talk about your story and how you help your clients. You can talk about the company and the value it brings, and you can talk about the solutions that you offer. This is where it belongs. This is where we want to have that. Oh, I don't have, we do have something that we call the experience hack. Bill, you want to share that?
Yeah, sure. So, and I was going to say, you know, all you that are really high salespeople, you're like, okay, when do I get to talk about like me and what I bring to the table? You know, this is the place where it happens. And what's really great is the experience hack is you can actually, you know, think about all the different deliverables that you provide in your position. So for example, one of my specialties is helping sales teams roll out social selling programs. So I have that as a position. But then also because I came out of the promotional products world and I use LinkedIn to build our promotional products business, I teach LinkedIn training to people in promotional products business. So I have that separated out in my profile as a separate position. So think about all the different deliverables that you have. You can separate those out in separate positions. And what it does is, what I like to say is it makes your profile, that part of your profile, wider and deeper. When people are looking at it, they'll get a really good feel of everything that you bring to the table. So they wonder, well, see, so he says he's insurance, but does he do, you know, whole life or term life, or, you know, if you have that there, there's no question about everything that you bring to the table.
So I love that. I think that's great. Recommendations, so important. And if you want to talk about getting more conversations, this will also help close more business. So recommendations is social proof. So we want to make sure that you're leveraging them. I'm not going to spend any more time. I want to keep moving on this, but make sure.
Yeah, we need to speed up a little bit.
Thanks. Yes. Again, thank you. So the key to this, right, before we do anything, is know who you want to talk to, and where we, what we normally would say, or most people say, know who we want to talk to and what you want to say to them. But we want you to think deeper than that and find out what is it they want to hear, because it's different. So I want to just pause at this slide for a second, because if you don't get this, you'll be pitching. You can't help it. But when we make this really understand what do they care about, as we move forward, it's going to make a big difference. So the biggest mistake we make in social selling, Bill, this is yours.
Yep. So it's random acts of social. So, this goes back to what I was saying before about being consistent and having a system. Most of us go on LinkedIn every once in a while, and because we don't know what to do, we do very little of anything, and we end up being very random. The more consistent that you can be on LinkedIn, the more successful you will be on LinkedIn, whether it has to do with creating and posting content, to connecting with people, to asking for introductions to people. The more consistent you are, the more successful you will be. And so in order to do that, we need to first understand about our network. And understanding how LinkedIn works. There's first and second and third degree connections. And so this is kind of basic, but it's important to understand. So it all starts with you and anyone that you're connected with. So in other words, you either sent them a connection request and they accepted, or they sent you a connection request and you accepted. You're their first degree connection. They're your first degree connection. And then there are their first degree connections that you're not connected with. That's your second degree connections. Those are the people that you don't know, but somebody that you knows. And then third degree, there's two people between you. What you can see about them is really predicated on how they have their profile set up, and there's not a lot of value there. The real value is in the second degree connections, because there's where you start to understand who is it that knows who you want to know. And so, who do you want to have a conversation with? And so really there's 6 groups of people or connections that we want to talk about. First is current clients. We want to make sure we're connected to all of our current clients. We want to make sure we're connected to all of our past clients. We also want to make sure we're connected to prospects, the people who would be buying from us. And then our referral partners who regularly refers business to us, and then we refer business to them. And then there's community leaders, for example, chambers of commerce and village officials and folks like that. And then lastly, our vendors, people that we actually are doing business with. We're purchasing from them. These are the people that we want to have more conversations with. So when we're talking about using LinkedIn, we have to start by being connected with them. And so it's important that you go through and look and figure out, okay, so who am I connected to and who am I not connected to, so that you can fulfill this and make sure that you have all these people that you're connected with. Okay, your turn.
Now the magic kicks in. So we've now identified who we want to have conversations with, but what conversations do we want to have? So with clients, there are 5. We want more business, more of their wallet, right? Is there anything else we can serve them with? Internal introductions. Are there other people inside of their organization that can buy from us? Often we are like in one little department, one little niche, and we're not maximizing the relationship across the board. External introductions. We want to know what other people do they know in their position at other companies that we would like to get in front of. Recommendations and case studies, absolutely important. In our conversations, we want to do that. And vendor introductions. So these people will become referral sources. We want to make sure that we are having conversations like this with all of our clients. Now, more business, we're having that conversation now. But internal introductions, often we will say, who else inside of your company can use our products and services the way you have? And they, I don't know, right? But with LinkedIn, we can visit their company page and really drill down based on all the people inside their company of all the other decision makers. There is a book that was put out by CEB called The Challenger Sale, and then they have a sequel called The Challenger Customer. In The Challenger Customer, they've identified that on average, there are 6.8 decision makers. I think Bill referred to like 7 or so earlier on in this webinar. So it's a statistic, an absolute study that was done, and there are 6.8 on average decision makers inside of a company. So that may be just for the department you're in. What other decision makers can you be working with inside of that organization? It is almost impossible to get a list of all employees anywhere else except for LinkedIn. So go through and you mine those connections and bring a list of names to your client and say, Mr. Client, there are 7 other people inside your organization that I'd love to be in front of. Can we talk through these? Can they make introductions, or can I get permission to drop their name when I reach out? External introductions, we can search our connections. So make a list, and don't do this all in one meeting, by the way. These are all at different times. So like this would overwhelm a client. Pick one, right? External introductions, I mine their connections. I find the 12 people that they know that are like them in other companies. And I run these names by them and get either introductions or permission to name drop. And recommendations and case studies will help you get conversations down the road when people see the value you've brought. And then vendor introductions. Who else are they working with that we should be talking to that we can build referral partners with? Okay. So what conversation do you want to have with a prospect? This is pretty simple. We want to have an insights conversation, period. We want to get on a call with someone and provide real value. Now, there's a whole methodology. We just actually taught this earlier today, a whole methodology on how to run this call. But the bottom line is, your goal of this call is to provide extreme value to the prospect. At the end of that, they're begging to learn how they can work with you, right? And we have a whole formula around how to do this. But the goal is, don't go in this going, I want to sell them. Go into this going, I want to provide so much value that they want to buy. Yeah. Jeffrey Gitomer has a quote, one of the most prolific writers I've ever met in anywhere, let alone in the sales space. He wrote the Little Red Book of Selling, the Little Black Book of Connections. Fabulous. And one of his most famous lines is, no one wants to be sold, but everyone wants to buy. So, right, that's our job, is to provide so much that they want to buy, not that we're selling them, right? Mm-hmm. That's a transformative quote. And we've got to embrace that. With community leaders, we want to meet other members. So Bill mentioned chambers of commerce. Not sure what you guys have where you are in the U.S. Chambers of Commerce, like every town has one. We have groups like BNI, Business Networking International. I'm sure you guys have that. I think they're in almost every country.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So whatever those are, you want to, if you have a community leader, you want to be, part of the conversation is, what members should I be talking to, right? Having that conversation. Where can I volunteer or provide value? What events can I participate in, even online, where I can meet other people, right? Can I share my expertise? Is there a webinar I can bring to the members? And how can I build a reputation in that community? Now, I want you to find your community. Some people don't sell locally. So a Chamber of Commerce may not be your best thing if you're not selling to entrepreneurs. Some people may sell, I only sell to IT CIOs. Find out who the community leaders are in their world, right? What associations are they belonging to? I don't know. Go find out. Connect with the community leaders. Eventually, you may want to join the community. Find out who they're connected to and start to socially surround the community in which you want to build a reputation in. Here's the thing is we want to start with our first degree connections. You may have hundreds, if not thousands of connections that you've been ignoring. Pretty typical. So how do we do this? And take a screenshot of this now if you're watching. Just take, these are the steps. You want to export your connections. This gives you first name, last name, title, company, and the date you connected. It also has an email column that's mostly empty because you have to opt in for that because of GDPR. But you do get a lot of information. Take inventory. Who are you connected to that's a past client, a prospect, a referral partner? Take a look at this and reach out to them, right? Have more. This is how we start to have conversations. First, we have to identify who it is we want to have conversations with. And so starting with our first, we can also search our connections. So you can go into LinkedIn and search by title, keyword, location, relationship, industry. I think I'm going to title again, company. I knew it. Title again. You only need one title. Mistake on my part. I did that in the last webinar too. But there are so many things that you can search by. And your first degree, so the people you're already connected to. You can also do second degree to see who it is that we want to meet. So tactics for starting the conversation. Our goal is to schedule the conversation, right? So my goal, Bill's goal, our goal across the board is to schedule a conversation, get them to click a link to my Calendly, to our Calendly, and schedule time to talk with us. There are ways to do that though. It's not like we can't reach out and say, hey, let's jump on a call. We've got to restart and build a relationship. So certain things that you can do to just start, to just spike, kind of like a hi, how are you? Send a kudos. On LinkedIn, you can publicly thank someone, endorse them. This will automatically create a thank you email, an auto-populated email for them to send back to you. Great way to start a conversation. Engage on their content. So look at what they're posting. Comment, share it, and then start start the conversation. I love that post you just put out that you just liked, right? Give the gift of her content, and there's original content that you've created, curated content, or their own. If they're a big company, sometimes you'll see they won an award, the CEO was nominated for whatever. You can take their content and send it to them. Often in big companies, people miss their own press. Just came across this, thought it might be of value. Great way to start a conversation. Ask them their point of view on an industry topic. Maybe you put out a poll on LinkedIn, and now you take that poll and you send it individually to people that you say, I've just put out a poll, your insights, what you think would be really valuable. Easy way to start a conversation that's about really, appreciating who they are. Interview them on Zoom. This is start to take this seriously. You get some great content and you have a real conversation. And you can actually simply invite them to do all kinds of things via mobile app. On the mobile app, anyone you're a first degree connection to, you can send an individual video. For us, we have almost, I would say, well over 90% conversations started when we just send a quick little, hey, Georgie, hope you're well. It's been a while since we last connected. Just want to drop in and see how you're doing. And by the way, I posted a little link to content that we just published. I hope right below. I hope you find, and you send it, and that's it. It takes 15 seconds. You paste a link of content, and you start conversations. So you may say, well, who has time for that? It's less than typing an email. It's less time to talk than to type in most people's cases, right? And it's really, so you can export your connections and you can have a column, who do I want to send a personal video message to? so easy, and you're almost guaranteed, unless they're not using LinkedIn at all, to have some kind of reaction.
Really, really great slide and great information. And I would want to just a little bit expand more on this. Probably, you know, and probably you use some tools and some software that can automate some of those processes.
Never.
What do you think about
Never,
this?
never, 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 never. No, we don't.
It's always important to have this human-to-human relationship, right?
Yeah, it also breaks LinkedIn's agreement and you will get shut down.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. They don't know that the LinkedIn user agreement, the terms of use you sign when you start an account with them, is you're not allowed to use automation. You're not allowed to scrape data. And then what happens is people that are doing this, they're coming off as totally inauthentic. And you know, when you can have, if you can have 10 personal connections with people where you're building a relationship, that's going to do so much better than the 150 emails or in-mails that you send out that are automated, click a button, click a button, click a button. Everybody wants the easy way out. And with LinkedIn, this is hard work, but listen, it's not as hard as other things are. You know, everything's in perspective. So yeah, we do not believe in automation at all.
And it's interesting you say hard work. This is a lot of work, but it's not hard.
Good. That's a good distinction.
So it is a lot of work, but you know, if you do this, I had someone come to me and say, I've sent out 5. I haven't heard anything back in the last 2 hours. I'm not doing it anymore. Like, it's consistent, right? You go, yeah, 5 times doesn't count, right? Like it's consistent. It's still prospecting. Again, we don't sell pixie dust. We don't have, if we had pixie dust, we'd be really good sharers with it, but we don't. It's really what it comes down to is, you know, it is work. It's an investment in resources and time, but it pays off enormously. And in our experience, it pays off faster than almost anything else that you do. So even though it may be more work up front, the conversion to conversations and ultimately to business is faster than a lot of other methodologies.
Okay, and here comes another question from me. Usually there is a statement that in order for a sales meeting to happen or for a deal to be closed, a prospect needs to be touched between 7 and 14 times. What do you think about the touch points on LinkedIn? How many touch points do you need to have on average in order to arrange a sales meeting, for example?
Yeah, so when it's cold calling out there, it's going to be a lot. Okay. So it may be similar. But when you leverage your second degree connections, it's very fast. In fact, there's a 50% conversion when you do this. Again, there's a lot of work, not hard work, but a lot of work up front. It's client referrals, networking introductions, and permission to name drop. So you can go into your client. One of those 5 things we want from clients is introductions, right? So external referrals. We can go in and find out the 12, 15, 20 people they know that we want to meet and run those names by them, right? And a referral is coming from a client. A networking introduction. Maybe there's a vendor that I've networked with that sells to the similar type buyers, but we're not competitors. I can mine their connections and get introductions. Or if it's a huge number, I can get permission to name drop. When we do this, and we do it in the right way, and we have a very formulaic way of doing this, when you follow those steps, you have a 50% success rate of converting that new connection into a conversation.
All right.
It's huge. And it's connection request, message, it's 3 touches and you've got a conversation.
Okay, and if you have to grade the interactions on LinkedIn by importance, for example, who viewed your LinkedIn profile, who endorsed you, who wrote you a personal message, who commented on some of your posts, how would you grade them by importance?
So there's no way we could answer that without knowing what you're looking to achieve. Your profile is foundational, so you've got to get that done. But it's one time and it's done. You know, I mean, you can keep updating your featured section, but generally it's not something you're working on. But everything else is a combination, right? So we have some salespeople that do their profile and then just do second degree connections and then occasionally share some piece of content. We have people that really want to build the name, you know, their thought leadership piece, right? So there's no way to answer that generally for everybody. But I will say your profile has to be done first or nothing else will work.
Okay, and another question, the last one before you continue with your presentation. What do you think about people who are delegating tasks on maintaining their LinkedIn profile to a third party, to another person, to an assistant, to another person? Is that artificial, or would it be possible to be as successful as if the person is maintaining the profile himself or herself?
So what I'll say is I know people that have had great success from it. We don't do that.
Okay. Okay. And
yeah. So when you get these introductions, and I know we're running on time, so I just want to make sure, but when we get these introductions, we need to assume the conversation, right? But we're not going to pitch. This isn't we get the conversation. It's not a presentation. It's an insights call. We want to provide value. So we're going to assume the conversation, but we've got to run that insights call, right? You came and referred by a credible source, invite them to connect and visit your profile, schedule a time to chat based on the recommendation, begin the call conversation about shared connection, then ask them, if there's anything they'd like to cover on the call. If not, offer to share insights, not a pitch, insights. Ask questions that will lead to aha moments, get permission to share a case study, and conclude with a recap of everything you heard from them, the insights you shared, and asking if they'd like to explore how you can help them in the same way. And when you run that call, I told you we have a formula. This is our formula. When you run it this way, you land conversation. You're assuming the conversation through the referral partner, your client, your networking partner. And when you get through this conversation, you've got this insights call that closes the business. And so I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, but content to conversation, 74% of your buyers, this is a corporate vision study, choose the sales rep that was first to add insights and value and insights. They are not just choosing you for price. They're choosing because of value and insights. So we've got 3/4. So we've got to be that person. Curate content. Find great industry content that you can share. Create your own content. You are a content genius and you don't even know it. Start recording your client conversations, insights that you have. When you email and answer, all of that is content. And I mentioned share their own content back with them. Great ways to use. So curating content, find and follow industries. You can find content through hashtags that your clients and your prospects are following. And find industry influencers, share their content with your own 2 cents, right? And engage with their followers because they're probably your prospects. Share it in your newsfeed and get it in their inbox. Just sharing content in your newsfeed is 50% of it. The other 50%, actually it's probably 10% of it. The other 90% of it is making sure that content is getting in their inbox. So starting the conversation from your curated content, we're just going to run through this quickly. I recently came across an article on ABC and I thought as a CEO in XYZ industry, you might get some value from it. The most interesting insights I gleaned was DEF, GHI. I'd love your thoughts. Talk about what you got from it, not just here, blindly share it. Creating content, videos, blog posts, images are content, quotes, text, just text and documents. Bill mentioned PowerPoints and PDFs that you could upload into featured section. You can start this in your posts. And stories are coming soon. I think they're in Australia and maybe South Africa. They're coming soon.
Yeah, and in Bulgaria, they gave the opportunity to upload stories only to the most active users of LinkedIn.
I don't think anyone in the US has it yet.
Okay.
So conversations from original content. I recently posted a video on ABC, and I thought as a CEO in the XYZ industry, you might get some value from it. Sound familiar, right? I'm not sure if this topic is top of mind, but if it is, there are quite a few takeaways around, and tell them what they're going to get when they watch the video. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Sharing their own company content. Find it on LinkedIn company pages, from their website. Google the company and click on the news tab. Search for press releases, right? And I recently came across an article congratulating your company for the community service they did over the last few months, and I was quite impressed. I'm not sure if you had a chance to read it yet, as I often find CEOs can miss their own press. Either way, I thought I'd send it to you and say congratulations, right? Great. A lot of information. Didn't I tell you it was jam-packed? Did we give you, we warned you, right? Lots and lots and lots and lots of information. Now, that was the free stuff, right? I want to make sure you guys are giving away free stuff this good. But I'm going to ask everyone, did we master the ask-offer ratio? Meaning you just invested an hour and 8 minutes. Did you take away more than how you value your hour and 8 minutes? Was there more value in that? Did you get more value than the time you invested? And if the answer is yes, which I see some things going up here in chat, imagine what you get if you worked with us. So we're going to thank Georgie for allowing us just for a minute to talk about next steps, right? Have we earned the right to share what's next? And it looks like we may have. So what's next? Social Sales Link, we have 4-week instructor-led programs, Mastering LinkedIn for Social Selling. And we have an online membership, which is literally $29 a month, where we've got loads of content. We've stuff updated weekly, and we have group coaching hours. In the 4-week course, we help you to design that profile, to find the right people, build the relationships, engage with insights, all these fun things, like an enormous amount. And these are the results people are getting. Doug, who I just talked with this morning, and I'm still continuing to work with, went through and he had 3 first call appointments based off of our strategies. And it was the easiest appointments that he could have ever imagined. They were with Fortune 500 companies, and he knows he's just scratching the surface. Michelle, and this was just June 12th. I just picked some recent ones. June 24th, she participated in this class, this 4-week class, and closed a $1.5 million account using our techniques, all through warm market. All right, so really fantastic results. So the live course, if you go to socialsaleslink.com, you'll see the live course there. The investment is only $297. And if you choose to stay a member for life, it's $29 a month. You can, for life, you can have that. You don't need to do that, but that's an option. So you can go in there and you just go to socialsaleslink.com and you'll see both the membership there and how to sign up for the next course, which is September 17th. So Georgie, do we have other questions?
I don't think we have any more questions from the audience. We can just wait for several more seconds, and while waiting, I would really like to thank you for this amazing lecture and meeting with you. Honestly speaking, you have really great energy, guys. You made me feel so fresh that I can now have one more work day here in Bulgaria, although it's at the end of the day here. So thank you very much. I really believe our audience felt the same thing. Ileana, thanks you as well for the insights and energy. For the people who are watching us, we'll send you the video tomorrow, so you can watch it again. Surely it's much information, and probably if you want to capture every detail, you need to watch it at least once again. And that's for now. That's for the inbounds during this month. We are going back in September with another topic, which is going to be predictive lead scoring, but stay tuned for more details at the end of this month. Thank you again very much, Brynne and Bill, and I hope we will have some meetings again during the fall.
Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. It was great being with everyone. Thank you.
Have a great day and see you soon again. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.